going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wolfpack Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Clemens. Here with me, as always, is my co-host and best friend, Michael Plant. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, best friend. How you doing?
Doing all right. We're missing Ike tonight, but the show must go on. You have a good week, man?
Yeah, it was. It went by pretty fast. Second week of working from home, so I can't complain.
That's nice. And
how about your job?
It was all right. I had a light week this week. You've been busy with some podcasts and stuff. I saw you filling in on Joe's podcast, the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour, last night with AJ. How'd that go?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. You wouldn't have known it because I'm good at concealing it, but I was a little nervous.
Yeah, I can imagine filling in some big shoes. But yeah, before we get started, if you guys could subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Fantasy Six-Pack YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts, it'd be much appreciated. LaPlante, want to talk about the sweet giveaway we're still doing?
So we still got this giveaway going. It's for this beautiful flat white Jerry Jeudy signed mini helmet.
You can't really see it too well with this lighting right here, but it's flat white, orange signature that just there it is, that just pops off of it. It's just absolutely sick.
It is absolutely sick. I mean, I wish I could win it myself.
But we might as well just jump into our game recap, yeah?
Absolutely. Let's jump into this. Surprisingly, it was the worst Thursday night game so far, in my opinion, this Los Angeles Rams against the Seahawks. Rams won out 26-17. Why don't you get us started off with those quarterbacks?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird game for the quarterbacks. Both ended up with finger injuries. Russell Wilson's was worse than Stafford's. He actually had to leave the game. He was 11 of 16 for 152, one touchdown and one pick before he had to leave. But earlier today, man, we heard that Russell might miss up 6 to 8 weeks after having surgery today on that finger. To me, Seattle's season's pretty much done because their team was kind of built around Russell being the man.
No, he even had to pull some magic out of his ass to even win some games.
Totally, man. And without him and in this brutal division, I just don't see them being very good without him.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely going to put a hampering on DK's value and Lockett's value.
I think it's definitely more Lockett's value just because of Russell throwing the best deep ball in the NFL, and that's kind of Lockett's game. You know what I mean? So that might hurt Lockett quite a bit. DK, when Geno came in, DK still caught the touchdown and all that, and he was still okay. But like you said, we got to temper expectations definitely a little bit.
Yeah, I'm really upset for Chris Carson most. This offense was based around him getting a lot of touchdowns because, this was going to be a high-flying offense with Russ Mann leading the charge. Now he's probably going to take the biggest hit. And I know he's been injured, but long-term, I think he's going to have the worst value dip.
Yeah, and like you said, he's battling a neck injury that's just going to be around the rest of his career, it sounds like. Pete Carroll said that his neck was just sore, and with the quick turnaround from playing Sunday to Thursday, it just wasn't doable.
No, it wasn't in the cards for him.
But yeah, like I said, Stafford also banged his finger on a helmet, but he ended up being okay. He was 25 of 37 for 365, a touchdown and a pick. A couple other things go his way. He could have thrown maybe one or two more touchdowns.
He missed some easy throws in the first half that should have been at least 20, 25-yard gashes.
And his interception was so bad, Mike. It was like he was trying to throw it away, and he just chucked it in the end zone.
And he didn't give it enough.
Yeah, right to Diggs. Like, throw it 50 feet in the air or something, man.
He was saying hi to his former teammate.
Yeah, he was.
Making him look good.
But jumping over to the running backs, Darrell Henderson, Mike, he's kind of making us eat both of our words. We weren't very high on him coming in, but he looks good. 17 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, 18 opportunities is nice. That's a nice solid baseline for your running back. I'd like to see him get involved more in the passing game. He only had 1 target and 1 reception for 17 yards.
Yeah, I don't see either running back getting involved in the pass catching just because they have so many options with Higbee, Van Jefferson, Robert Woods, who finally had a bounce back, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and Cooper Kupp being awesome as always.
So honestly, in my opinion, that just makes Darrell Henderson an RB2 with touchdown possibility.
Sure. And then, in my opinion, probably the best handcuff in all fantasy football, Sony Michel, he even saw 11 carries for 37 yards and found the end zone.
I know, such a little vulture.
Mm-hmm. But you talked about...
You think he's better than your handcuff on Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison?
That's kind of tough, man. That's tough. Well, yeah, you might be right. But with Chris Carson being out, we talked about that earlier. Alex Collins jumped into the starting running back role, and he had 15 carries for 47 yards, caught 2 or 3 targets for 25 yards. I had Chris Carson in a lot of places, probably 75% of my leagues or so.
Ouch.
So I had to plug in Alex Collins quite a bit, and he got 8 fantasy points. I don't hate it, and it got squirrely for a little bit there. He had 4 going into the fourth quarter and caught a couple passes, luckily.
Yeah, luckily some garbage time saved him.
Yeah. But he's okay moving forward. He's kind of like Carson was kind of touchdown dependent this season. His touchdown saved his week, and I kind of view Alex Collins the same way, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we took down the value on Chris Carson, so I think the value for Alex Collins is probably going to go down as well.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm just worried, like, what if this is a committee now, Mike? Because we saw when Carson was the last game he was healthy, Alex Collins still saw 10 carries. And, like, the big thing and why I was drafting Chris Carson so much was you could get him in that 3rd, 4th round. But he's guaranteed, we thought anyways, that he was guaranteed the full 100% workload. And we know what Seattle likes to do, and that's run the goddamn football. I don't think.
And we also know that he's injury prone at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is. It's almost to the point where I'd rather have one of the running backs be out. You know what I mean? In order for them to get the lion's share work.
And we saw last night that lion's share work isn't even that much.
No, right.
With Geno Smith.
But jumping over to the wide receivers now, DK had a good night. Caught 5 of 5 balls for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns.
You can't go wrong with 2 touchdowns on 5 receptions.
No, definitely not. Tyler Lockett could have had a way bigger night.
Oh, yes.
He caught 5 of 10 targets for 57 yards, but could have caught a long touchdown. Instead, the defensive back kind of tackled him, so he couldn't score the touchdown.
Yeah, he could have had a night like Robert Woods with a touchdown.
Oh, man, Robert Woods, guys. This was the breakout. Hopefully you kept him in your lineups. In a couple places that I had,
yeah.
I kept him in. Caught 12 of 14 targets for 150 yards. He is just on fire. Cooper Kupp, 7 out of 10 targets for 92 yards as well as awesome. Got tackled on the 1 goddamn yard line. That hurts me. Hurts my inside.
I actually had Robert Woods in our Dynasty 6-pack league against Ike this week.
Very nice. Very nice. Deshaun Jackson caught 1 of 3 targets for 68 yards. He's always catching a deep ball every week, man.
It's just a matter if he gets that touchdown or not.
Yep. And then for the tight ends, nobody did anything for the Seahawks and the tight ends. Higbee only saw 2 targets, caught both of them for 14 yards. Luckily,
saved his night.
Yep, luckily the touchdown saved his night.
He's lucky he was able to come back into the game after his little scare.
No doubt. So before we get into our player/game previews, I want to let you know we're going to do something a little different. We skipped over the injuries at the top of the show. Every time we get to the game, the first thing we'll talk about is the people who are out and injured.
In that matchup.
So what do you say? You want to hop into it, Mike?
Hell yeah.
All right. Guys, don't forget, 9:30 a.m. game in London this week. New York Jets at the Atlanta Falcons.
If you don't want to wake up for it because it's not going to be particularly a good game, I don't blame you. Just make sure your lineups are set.
Yes, make sure everything's good. And by doing that, make sure you have Calvin Ridley out of your lineups because he didn't make the trip due to personal reasons. Not quite sure what those reasons are, but
I don't think he likes people in London.
And then Russell Gage is also out. So, LaPlante, I'll start it off here. Kyle Pitts breakout week or what?
I think it's in the cards. I mean, it's the same argument for Brandon Cooks in Houston. They got to throw the ball to somebody, and it can't just be Darrell Patterson.
This guy's going to see 18 targets probably, something wild like that. He's due for a touchdown, so if you have Kyle Pitts, guys, you're still firing him up, and he could.
I haven't checked on his price in DFS, but I bet you it's low. So he might be a good DFS play this week.
Yeah, just everyone's probably going to be on him if I had to take a guess. But everyone a lot of people are probably also going to be on Darrell Patterson after the way he's playing.
It's stupid, man. He's got 22 targets over the 4 games. He's got 18 receptions and 4 receiving touchdowns.
That's so crazy. They've unlocked the 30-year-old gadget player, man, and now he's a little bit more.
Like Mike Davis is getting the majority of the volume. It's just he's not scoring the touchdowns like Cordero.
Well, he got one last week to save his week, luckily, because
that's his first one, though.
other than that, man, wasn't he had 12 carries for 13 yards last week or something, right? He's just not being very efficient. But are you comfortable starting Davis and Patterson in this matchup?
I think with Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage out, I think it's very possible that Mike Davis could see the uptick in targets because Cordarrelle's going to get his the way he's involved in this offense. I just can't see Olamide Zaccheaus being that much of a threat, and it's going to be Kyle Pitts. So it could be very well another game where Mike Davis can score the touchdown. We're just hoping that he might get a little bit more yards this week, but I think he's worth a start against the Jets. Both of them are.
Yeah, definitely. And then Jamison Crowder last week, pretty much his first game back from injury, he saw 9 targets. He's just a target monster, man. Has been his whole career. Caught 7 of them. And in PPR formats, he'll take that all the time. And he even caught a touchdown last week.
He paced the team in targets last week. He had 9. Corey Davis only had 7, and that was Jamison Crowder's first week.
Mm-hmm. If you are struggling with injuries and you need someone to plug into your flex, I have really no issues with having to play Crowder this week, especially against the bad Atlanta defense.
Yeah, I'm worried that this might be a slugfest. Might not, usually these London games are not really blowouts. They're usually, close, ugly defensive games.
Oh, this game's totally going to be ugly, man.
Yeah, so that's if you're playing Jamison, you're definitely banking on that touchdown because he did get majority of that target share last week in the first game back.
Yep. You're obviously sitting Zach Wilson. Guys, don't have Matt Ryan in your lineup either.
No.
How do you feel about Michael Carter LaPlante?
I mean, he's definitely been trending up towards more playing time, more snaps, and more involvement in that offense. He got 13 attempts last week. I mean, 3 targets, and he got the touchdown. I mean, the efficiency's not there, but he's definitely getting, like you said, the lion's share of this offense.
With him being such a good pass catcher, I'd like to see those 3 targets turn to 5 or 6. And then we're talking, man.
I just don't know if Zach Wilson's the type of guy to check it down to the running back.
He's more of a huck it, chuck it football kind of guy, man.
Yeah, always trying to make the magic happen. Trying to imitate Mahomes.
Yep, no doubt. But I think that covers that one. We can jump into the next one.
Please and thank you.
The Philadelphia Eagles at the Carolina Panthers. There were rumors that Christian McCaffrey was going to be able to play this week. Nobody really thought that he was going to be 100%, but
he said he was going to try if he felt good.
Yeah, but now he's listed as doubtful, so I don't see it.
No, when you get that doubtful listing, it's never good.
So jumping into that, how do you feel about Chuba Hubbard, Mike?
I don't like him this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. They got a tough run defense. They can be thrown upon. I mean, last week, what did the Eagles play? The Cowboys? And I know Zeke ran all over him, but Chuba Hubbard is not Zeke.
No, definitely. And he was efficient. He averaged 4.4 yards per carry.
I mean, he's
57 yards on 13 attempts.
He's worth a flex, but that's it.
And he wasn't involved in the passing game, Mike.
No, exactly.
And that's what we wanted to see. But
so, I mean, he's a desperation flex. You got a running back that's going to get majority of the volume. So,
but someone who is involved in the passing game, and that's because he's throwing it, is Sam Darnold, and he's QB7 so far. 5 rushing touchdowns is kind of
leading the league.
That's kind of like the what the fuck stat of the season so far.
It's got to be attributed to the CMC injuries.
You're starting him, right, man?
I think you have to. I mean, we're 4 games through the season, a quarter of the season, and he's at QB7. He's done it for 4 straight weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's worth it, especially with DJ Moore, showing out, getting 2 touchdowns last game. I think Sam Darnold is star-worthy now.
He was my quarterback start for this week in my start sit article.
Well, that was an easy one. Way to get a freebie.
Yeah, I'm liking it a lot. He's ECR right now. They have him at quarterback 13 on the week. Let me ask you a couple questions. Yeah. Guy right behind him, Trey Lance. Who would you rather have, Sam Darnold or Trey Lance?
I don't trust Trey Lance. I didn't like the way he came in and played for Jimmy last week. I think I'm going to lean Sam Darnold over Trey Lance.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm going Darnold for sure. Sam Darnold or Justin Herbert against the Browns? That one's close for me, man.
Herbert's has 7 touchdowns in the past 2 games.
Tough Cleveland defense. You see what they did to the Bears. Obviously, that's not saying
Baker's hurt.
But then they did that to that really good Minnesota defense last week, too. They shut their ass down.
I think I'd still take Herbert.
Yeah, I think so, too. But okay, moving on. Are
we benching Miles Sanders or what yet?
100%. You can't trust that goon, and it is so annoying, man. But he's a decent pass catcher, and we just don't see it. Kenny Gainwell, I think, is obviously better.
He's outpacing him this year.
It's crazy. I mean,
Kenny Gainwell has pretty much 21 points on the year. Miles Sanders only has 17.
Yeah, man, that's like I'm done with him. If I don't drop him because running back is so thin, but if you can find an owner who's desperate for a running back, try and sell him for anything you can get.
Oh no, I don't want anything of it with Miles Sanders at all. Jalen Hurts just takes away from his value right there.
Yep. But moving over to the wide receiver position. Who would you rather have, Devonta Smith moving forward or Robbie Anderson? Last week, I was high on Robbie Anderson, man. He saw the 8 targets, which we love to see. He only caught 4 of them, though. And Devonta Smith had a good week. I think he caught a touchdown, right?
I don't see it. I do not see it.
He caught 7 of 10 targets for 122 yards.
Yeah, so it was a good PPR week, but no touchdown. Yeah, because that was against the Chiefs.
I like Devonta Smith moving forward, but this matchup's kind of tough, man. Carolina's defense has been pretty stout and pretty awesome,
and they got the addition of Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, he won't be playing this week, but moving forward. Dallas kind of tore them up, but the Eagles' offense isn't Dallas's offense by any means.
No, but I guess to answer your question, I think I'm only because of the CMC injury kind of turning around. It seemed like he was going to be out for a while, and I was really high on Robbie Anderson with you, but I think I'm going to lane Devontae Smith on that one.
I might be out on Robbie Anderson, Mike. I thought he was going to blow up last week with no McCaffrey again.
Oh, he's going to blow up one of these weeks. It's just going to be the week on your bench.
It might be this week with McCaffrey still out if he still sees the target share. But once McCaffrey comes back, that just lowers his odds of being a viable fantasy option each week. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean, Vern.
But I think that pretty much covers it for that game. You're starting DJ Moore, obviously. He's a top 10 wide receiver this year. I guess we could talk about the tight ends. Goddard, he's not getting a ton of targets, but he's catching a touchdown every week, and that's all you can ask from your low-tier tight end one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're both, not getting very good volume as it is, and they're both sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you're going for the touchdowns, like with these, shitty tight ends, I guess you can go Dallas Goedert because he just keeps getting the touchdowns. But, I mean, Zach Ertz outpaced him in targets last week, 8-5.
They just really like Goddard in the red zone, man. He's their automatic go-to in the red zone. I see it every week. But yeah, jumping to the next game. Green Bay Packers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Mixon dealing with that ankle sprain. He's questionable right now, but everything's pointing that he's not playing. With Mixon being out, Mike, I've heard that it's going to be somewhat of a committee with Samaje Perine being the first and second down back. And then we're going to see rookie running back Chris Evans in the pass catching duties. Which one would you rather start and why?
I'm going to go probably Samaje Perine. I mean, it's going to be I think this game has shootout potential. And I think Samaje Perine is going to be the guy in the red zone, plain and simple. So if they get to the red zone, Samaje is going to get a chance for it. Chris Evans is going to get you, garbage time PPR value. But, yeah.
I'm interested to see how this game plays out. Like, is Cincinnati a little bit for real, or is they kind of a smoke
They
screen?
got T. Higgins back this week, so.
Mm-hmm. And the Packers' defense is really banged up.
Yeah, Jair's out with his shoulder.
No Zadarius Smith either.
They don't have Jalen Smith just yet.
The Packers are always I can't even say that
susceptible.
Yep, to the run. So the running backs might be okay, especially if they find their way into the end zone. I seen somebody post in the Facebook group about.
Oh, and we had some technical difficulties. Dylan down for the count. Oh, no. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, we're going to hope he gets back here. So we'll just move on with our next games. Oh, there he is. Welcome back, buddy.
Sorry about that, loss. I'll just jump right back into it like nothing happened. I posted the Facebook group worried about starting Joe Burrow this week. I don't think he should be worried, right?
I'm not worried against this banged up Packers defense. The Packers are going to score on this defense of the Bengals, so Joe Burrow's going to have to throw it. With Mixon out, they can't, play this even balance game that they've been trying to do since Burrow came back since his injury.
Yeah, we might finally see Burrow chuck it like we did his
He's got all three of his receivers coming off a career game. CJ Uzomah.
Yep.
I mean, which wide receiver is your guy on this Bengals offense this week?
I like them both, but Tyler Boyd, to be honest with you. I like Higgins and I like Chase. I forget what the Packers slot corner is, but he's been playing pretty well, actually, only giving up under 7 fantasy points per game against the receivers he's covering. So I'm staying away from Tyler Boyd, and I like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase both coming back with no Jair Alexander.
I'd like to see what Eric Stokes can do because he was doing pretty well for them when he came in.
Rookie, right?
Yeah, the rookie they got in the first round this past year.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm thinking I can't take T. Higgins off of the injury. I just don't trust it. So I'm going to go with Jamar Chase this week. He's my guy. He's been killing it. Pretty sure he's wide receiver 8 on the year.
But you're cool still. If you own Higgins, you throw him in and you're comfortable with that or no?
Honestly, I'm not. But if you're desperate for it, because I know I'm desperate in a couple leagues with Jerry Jeudy, Curtis Samuel, all these wide receivers that just don't want to play because they're hurt. So yeah, I would throw him in there. But I'm tempering my expectations on T. Higgins. I know you said the cornerback for the Packers is good, but I think Tyler Boyd is just gonna outplay him.
Okay, fair enough. Rhino Cobb last week blew up. I think caught 2 touchdowns.
On my Scott Fish bench.
You're gonna have that, man. But with Marquez Valdez-Scantling being out, Cobb's pretty much the second pass option in this offense,
and he's got Rodgers' trust. I mean, he didn't have to build it; he already had it.
Yeah, Rodgers loves the guy, man. I think if you're desperate, you can plug him into your flex, and hopefully he catches 5 balls for 50 yards or something.
Yeah, in these games where they're going to be possible shootouts, like, against the Bengals right here with the banged-up defense, I think Randall Cobb's absolutely worth a solid flex play this week.
Agreed. You're starting Aaron Jones, obviously. We talked about the quarterbacks. We talked about the Bengals.
Start Devontae Adams, obviously. He hasn't been doing as well, but he's going to get his touchdown here. Just wait.
Is the CJ Uzomah bust out week? Is that kind of a smokescreen, or are we comfortable with him now, or is he just somebody to keep an eye on and wait till further notice?
I keep an eye on waiting to further notice. He's another one of those tight ends on a all right offense so far. It's not like this is a high-powered offense like the Bills with Dawson Knox. Like, who would you rather have, Dawson Knox or CJ Uzomah? I think I'm going Dawson Knox.
100%. 100%.
So, yeah, if this offense shows more potential against the Packers this week, then, yeah, I think we'd be more comfortable with Uzomah in the future.
Yeah, and I'd like to see him do it with the 3 receivers there.
Yes.
But jumping to the next game, New England Patriots at the Houston Texans. Nobody on the injury report, fantasy-wise, but 3 or 4 offensive linemen for the Patriots are going to be out. Mike, I don't know if you heard that. Yeah.
I did not hear about that.
Does that scare you away from Damian Harris? Because it doesn't for me. Just because Houston's so bad.
I think the way Damian Harris had that run against the Jets, I mean, I think that's very possible he could do it again against Houston this week.
Yeah, he's my start running back this week in my start sit article, and I really, really love the matchup. They should be able to do whatever they want against this Houston offense. Or Houston defense, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they should be up the whole game, I would think. I mean, with the Patriots defense, Bill Belichick knows how to take away their number 1 target and Brandon Cooks, and that's all they got. So you take away Brandon Cooks, they're going to struggle.
Just like you did to Corey Davis in week 2, I think that was. I'm fading
Brandon Cooks, yeah.
Fading Brandon Cooks this week. Don't do it. Don't do it this week, guys. But we don't really have to talk about anyone else from the Texans offense.
No, you're sitting David Mills this week against this defense. Bill Belichick eats rookie quarterbacks alive.
Yes. Jacoby Myers, though, man, he's the wide receiver you want to own in this wide receiver corps, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing PPR, yeah, he's all right in half PPR, but he just doesn't score touchdowns.
No, he never has.
No, exactly my point. So I mean, yeah, he's getting 8 targets. Whoop-de-doo.
No, I think you misread that, Mike. He's had 26 targets in 2 games.
Oh damn!
And
he's not scoring. He's not scoring.
He caught 9 of 14 in week 3 against New Orleans for 94 yards and 8 of 12 targets for 70 yards last game. The problem is, too, Mike, is that Mac just doesn't throw it downfield.
Exactly. His longest catch of the year is 27 yards.
But to me, that's why you can't play Nelson Aguilar right now, because he was the ultimate. He's the ultimate.
There's no deep threat.
Best ball play. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no deep threat at all here.
No, there's really not. And I don't know if that's saying something about Max deep ball or if Belichick just doesn't want him to turn the ball over and he wants to just rely on his defense to win games. I'm not sure. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up that
I think
game.
it's the run game.
Yeah. But that pretty much wraps that one up. Jumping in the next one, Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not excited about this game either, man. Julio Jones out with a hamstring. Shocker. We're 4 games in, and he's already missed one with his legs. A.J. Brown has been battling a hamstring injury around the same time as well. But it sounds like he's playing, and he's been a full go in practice. You're comfortable starting him, right? You're plugging him right in and hoping for the best.
I mean, with his draft value that you had, you're probably desperate in playing him. He's got a good matchup against Jacksonville. Yeah, Derrick Henry might run on him, but it's A.J. Brown. They don't have Julio.
He might be better. I shouldn't say he might be better. He should be better without Julio in the lineup, you'd think.
Oh, absolutely. I'm more worried about B.J. Nichols getting those, 12 targets last week.
That won't happen again, man. I don't see that happening again. But the Titans offense is just struggling as a whole. Is Ryan Tannehill droppable in 12-team leagues, Mike, or not yet?
Yeah, he's droppable.
Pretty close, right?
I mean, who would you rather play, Sam Darnold or Ryan Tannehill?
Sam.
Okay, who would you rather play, Trey Lance starting this week or Ryan Tannehill?
We might be – I say no on Trey Lance. We already talked about that earlier.
I'm going to probably lean Trey Lance on that one.
You really are, huh?
Yeah, this offense runs through Derrick Henry. He had 33 rushing attempts last week, and they lost.
I thought we were both going to kind of stay away from Trey Lance.
In comparison to Ryan Tannehill right now, I can't. It's just a slight edge just because Trey Lance has a higher rushing floor.
Yeah, I get that. Talk about rushing floors, though. James Robinson, LaPlante, looking like a stud again. They're finally just feeding him, man. If Carlos Hyde is back this week, does that give you any worry with James Robinson, or are you still just trucking him out there at your RB2, borderline RB1, and you're totally cool with that?
I think I'm gonna have to stick him out there. Yeah. I mean, he had 18 attempts this past week, and then 15 the week before.
6 targets last week, Mike. That's what we missed was the little
the week before he had 6 targets. This past week he only had 2, but yeah, so those targets we like.
Yeah, it's very nice. He's a plug and play starter, and you don't even look back, especially with all the injuries to the running backs right now. Carlos Hyde.
He's a plug and play, but he's a guy you're going to temper your expectations on against certain matchups, just because this offense isn't that good.
Agreed. The pass catchers in this offense, it got a little more clearer last week. Unfortunately, with DJ Chark getting his ankle fractured, that opens up the door for Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault. Mike, who would you rather have for this matchup and going forward? In this sexy matchup against this awful Titans defense?
I think I'm leaning Laviska.
Me too.
I know.
We agree on that.
I mean, last week when DJ went down, he got 7 targets. He caught 6 of them. He even got a deep target.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's the biggest thing is that they're going to be using him as the deep ball guy now as well at times.
This defense is bad. They're going to be throwing the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're plugging Viska in as your wide receiver or as your flex.
I think he's a solid wide receiver 3. Yeah, flex and PPR. He's definitely, in my opinion, he's this team's number 1 wide receiver now. Marvin Jones is pulling his best Detroit Lions impression and just being inconsistent.
Yeah, but you should feel all right starting Marvin Jones in this matchup.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he is pulling his best Detroit Lions. And he's fooling everybody because, I mean, like he did in Detroit, he'd have the 2 touchdown games and then he'd have the 4 reception for 40 yards.
No doubt. Tight ends don't really need to talk about.
Nah.
Dan Arnold.
He might be a stash if you want to keep a second tight end, but I'm not a big second tight end guy.
Agreed.
So you want to move on to this Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings game?
I suppose.
You suppose, Davey? All right. So this one was a tough one because, we got Hawkinson questionable with the knee. We got Dalvin Cook questionable with the ankle. You got DeAndre Swift questionable with the groin. And you got Jamal Williams questionable with the hip. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a fun fantasy game for the Lions. Even though they got a good matchup against the Vikings.
Lions are going to struggle, man.
If you're desperate, and you're really getting pounded by injuries this year. If you really have to go for one of these receivers, because it's the same argument for Houston, somebody's got to catch the ball, especially if Hawkinson and Swift are going to be out. Do you like Quinto, Cephus, or Khalif, Raymond for the rest of the year? Khalif had this, coming off this hot game.
I think Cephus, I know Khalif caught 2 touchdowns last week, but Cephus was kind of their red zone threat the first few weeks over Raymond. And they like to run fades to him in the red zone. So I think he's more likely to score the touchdown. So I'd rather have Cephus, but I obviously don't love it. And we should mention Detroit's going to be without Penei Sewell.
I think he's questionable as well.
They're going to be without Frank Ragnow. They're in trouble, man. That might hurt the running backs in this game, too. I don't want to start Jamal Williams this week. I think you have to start DeAndre Swift, even though he threw a dud at you last week. But you're still starting him week in and week out. Jamal Williams, with the offensive line concerns, I'm out on him this week. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm out on Jamal Williams. You're playing Swift.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I really want Hawkinson to play because, man, this is going to just be terrible if he does not.
And you're obviously starting Hawkinson if he can tough it out and play. Do you like Cousins in this game as a streamer? Because I know the matchup's good, Mike, but I don't know if I really like it. I think this game might get out of hand pretty quick, and they might lean on. I don't even necessarily know if they're going to lean on Dalvin Cook because I don't think they're going to need to. I think you might see a lot of Alexander Madison this week with Cook being still banged up with that ankle.
I think I'd play Kirk Cousins this week with Dalvin Cook being banged up with the ankle. I know they're going to, they might just run out the ball on Detroit, but Kirk Cousins is QB 12 on the year. He is a QB 1. He's throwing touchdowns every week, apparently, to Adam Thielen. Justin Jefferson is eventually going to have his week here. And, you know how much they like to involve the running backs in the passing game. They don't just run the ball. So, I think in this matchup, if you're desperate, or even if you're a Russell Wilson owner, I think Kirk Cousins is a solid pickup on the waiver wire if you can get him.
Yeah, agreed. If you had Russ and you could get Kirk, I would. Yes, I agree with Mike, no doubt.
But other than that, you're starting Jefferson, you're starting, Thielen, you're starting Cook if he plays, even though I'm skeptical he might just get re-injured.
Yeah, it's shaky with Dalvin right now, but he's trying to tough it out, man. He's a tough guy.
But play Madison if Cook is out.
Yeah.
Go into our next game there, buddy.
Denver Broncos at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Corlin Sutton, questionable with an ankle. Melvin Gordon, questionable with a lower leg. Sounds like both of them are going to play. If Gordon is out, though, however, Javonte Williams is probably a must start.
I'd give him the same value as Chuba Hubbard. Just because this defense that they're going up against the Steelers, it's not easy to run against them. But yes, he will be getting the volume. He's probably going to be involved in the passing game. That's what we like to see from these running backs.
Oh, we also missed another injury. Teddy, we should talk about.
No, he's in line to play.
Yeah. I was going to mention that it's looking like he's good to go and going to be out of concussion protocol, which is good news for everyone in this offense.
Yes, everybody in this offense. Yeah, Corlin Sutton was definitely a late game ad to the injury report. He rolled his ankle in practice today, is what I heard.
Just terrible injury luck right now for the Broncos, man. But hopefully he's still.
There was good news for Jerry Jeudy. I mean, he said that they said that he was on track to possibly come back at that 4 week. I believe it was 5 week or 4 week mark. Good news.
Good news for the Broncos and good news for us trying to give away this Jerry Jeudy helmet.
But with that, late game injury to Sutton, do we like Tim Patrick this week?
Yeah, I like my accountant Tim Patrick every week, man, for the most part, even though he struggled a little bit last week, but I'm okay with him as your wide receiver 3 flex type.
Okay, now I got these questions for you because I want to know who are you starting between Claypool and Juju, because Deontay Johnson's an automatic start.
I'm not starting Juju, man. That guy's gross.
You trust Claypool coming off of this injury? I mean, Juju's at least seeing the targets. He's just not able to catch him.
so what, man?
He had 8 targets.
Claypool is much better. I was higher on Claypool coming into the season, and I'm sticking to my guns, man. Juju's annoying. I don't think you should drop him yet, but he needs to sit on your bench and think about what he's done to your fantasy teams. He's in fantasy timeout for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with – I don't like going with guys off their injuries, but I'm going to lean Chase Claypool. He's – even with the game sitting out, he still has 2 more targets than Juju on the year.
And that's even without Ben being able to throw the ball downfield. I'm still taking Chase Claypool.
Yeah, Claypool hasn't scored yet, so he's bound to progress to positive touchdown regression.
Definitely. You're not starting either quarterbacks. Maybe Teddy in a super flex league.
But I mean, I got 2 more questions for you, and then we can move on to the next game if you want. Because I really want to know. Do you want your accountant Tim Patrick over Claypool this week?
Yeah, I think he's much safer.
Against a good Denver Bronco defense?
No, I said I want Patrick.
Oh, you want Patrick?
Yeah, okay. I want Patrick over Claypool. Much safer.
Yeah, I think I'm going Patrick as well. And I was going to say, obviously, Patrick over Juju.
Mm-hmm.
So we can move on to our next game then. This one's going to be a real fun one to watch. We got the Miami Dolphins at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Unfortunately, Tua is still out, so we got the Jacoby Brissett show.
Yeah.
Devontae Parker's questionable with a shoulder and ankle injury. Will Fuller went to the IR with a broken finger. It kind of sucks. He was just coming back.
Yeah.
You got Gronk doubtful with the ribs again. He's not going to play. And then Giovanni Bernard is questionable. If he doesn't play, Leonard Fournette's a good play this week.
Fire him up. Dolphins have given up 300-yard rushers. You're absolutely go with Fournette, and he's involved in the passing game with Gio being out as well.
Just watch it be Ronald Jones. Once we figure we know this backfield, it changes on us because of Bruce Arians.
Yeah, he might do that just to fuck with us, no doubt.
But I mean, whose week is it this week? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, or Antonio Brown's? Because it's not going to be Gronk's.
I don't necessarily. I mean, one of these receivers, multiple, might have a good week. I just don't know, Mike. How much volume is there going to be? Because they should be winning this game handedly. You know what I mean? It's going to be it's more of a positive game script for the running backs like Fournette, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I just know this Tampa Bay defense can be thrown on. They got Waddle. They got Gesicki. So, I mean, this Tampa Bay secondary sucks. They're not going to be able to run the ball with Gaskin.
I thought we were talking about Tampa Bay receivers, man, not Miami's receivers.
Oh, my apologies. Even so, I mean, look what the Bills did to Miami.
Yeah, and Xavier Howard's banged up. Yeah, man. I like them all, but it's hard for me to pick which one.
I think I'm going to – Tom Brady has his guy. It's Antonio Brown.
Mm-hmm. If I had to rank him, I would still go Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans for me. I've been consistently through that all year, so I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans as well. So, I mean, the one thing I want to know, because, the tight end is so valuable to Brady, is Cameron Brate trustful this week with Gronk out?
Well, he's playing way more snaps than O.J. Howard did.
And that's what we like.
I don't love it, though, Mike. Just because of how many other mouths to feed in this offense. I can't. He's not Gronk. He's not.
No, but he got 6 targets last week. I mean,
he did in the rain up in New England. Maybe he catches a touchdown this week, and that's what you're hoping for when you're deep into the tight end realm. But he's not someone I'm excited to start.
Yeah, I'm not excited to start him either. But I mean, you're starting Waddle. Obviously, you're not very. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about it, but he has his role. He's involved in this offense. I think this is a week you're setting Myles Gaskin. He's not doing anything. Who would you rather have, Myles Gaskin or Miles Sanders?
I'm flipping a coin, whichever that one.
I think I'd rather have an empty roster spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. What a total disappointment he's been.
But yeah, start up Gesicki this week with Jacoby Brissett in. I don't know what it is, but Brissett loves him.
Yep.
But we can move on to our next game then if you want. We got the New Orleans Saints at the Washington football team. Injuries are Curtis Samuel, questionable with the groin. Antonio Gibson, questionable with the shin. Did you hear the news about him? Said he's been playing with a fractured shin.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, monitor that. Then we got Logan Thomas, who made it to the IR this past week with a hamstring injury. That's no bueno.
The football team just can't catch a break right now.
Nope, kind of like their name. But are we comfortable starting any running backs whatsoever in this game, including Gibson, Kamara?
Yeah. Yeah, even McKissick, man, I think you can. This game's kind of going to be an ugly one, I feel, right?
Yeah, I think this could be one of those defensive struggle games. I mean, what is Jameis? Is he good? Is he not good? I mean,
what is this Washington defense? Is it good or is it not good?
And this is, it's going to be like two just terrible forces meeting. Who's going to be worse?
Something's got to come out of this because Sean Payton's not looking too great right now, man. We thought we were going to see some crazy shit with him, with being freed from Drew Brees, having Jameis now being able to throw the ball downfield, but it hasn't been pretty. Hasn't been pretty at all.
No, it hasn't. I mean, speaking of Winston, who would you rather have in this matchup, Winston or Heineke?
Heineke, I think. No.
I think I'm leaning Heineke.
Just the matchup is good, man. The matchup is just so much better for Winston, but we've seen Taysom Hill vulturing red zone opportunities.
That's why I'm going Heineke.
So I think you have to go Heineke just because he's kind of the guy. He's just gonna send it and he doesn't care. He's kind of like he's a clone of Fitzpatrick kind of.
He had 3 touchdowns, 290 yards last week.
He's not bad. I know I said this on it might have been the Sunday Social podcast, or it was on this one. I don't think Fitz is getting his job back.
No, I think Taylor took it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
I think Taylor's a solid QB2 for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm. And I have him in a couple places because I had Ryan Fitzpatrick.
But with him doing so well, and Logan Thomas going to the IR, who's going to get all these targets now?
Please give it to Terry McLaurin, all of them. Nom. Just let that man eat.
I think it's realistic to see J.D. McKissick eat into some of that share as well. So, which he's going to make a solid flex play for the rest of the.
I agree. That was my more serious answer. Was J.D. McKissick was.
Sure.
Involved in the passing game, but I think that pretty much does it. You're still starting Alvin Kamara. You don't want to start any of the pass catchers in New Orleans, guys. Don't do that to yourself. You're starting Terry McLaurin. And that's really about it.
No, you can't start anybody from this New Orleans pass catchers besides Alvin Kamara.
Jumping to the next game. Very, very, very solid game here after talking about a couple poo ones. Cleveland Browns at the LA Chargers. Obviously, Juice Landry's still out.
ODB is questionable, but he is supposed to play.
What do we do with him, Mike?
I think you got to trade him away, in my opinion.
Or plop him on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to be the guy that you're going to be sitting there. Oh, man. Do I play Marquez Callaway or do I play Odell Beckham?
Odell. The problem is
I would almost lean Marquez Callaway.
Baker's just struggling right now too.
Because he's dealing with an injury.
Torn labrum, even though it shouldn't bother him that much because it's on his opposite throwing shoulder. But we've seen Odell has the ability to still get open. Baker just hasn't been able to hit him, man. It's just like those guys don't have any chemistry together.
No, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So much hype, so little production.
Kareem Hunt's been better than Nick Chubb, man, the last 2 weeks.
Oh, he's been better than him on the year.
Is that something worrisome for you, or are you cool? Or do you think it's just going to come back around?
I think it's going to even back out. It's just the Browns have played in more negative game scripts where they've had to throw the ball more. I mean,
zero passing game work for Chubb right now.
Would you believe me if I told you Kareem Hunt leads this team in passing yards? I mean, receiving yards? Yeah. At 121?
It doesn't surprise me with Juice being out, but yeah.
Also leads the team in receptions, man. Like, that's the reason why. It's him in the passing game right now.
In PPR formats, man, he's a borderline running back 1 as a backup running back.
A solid RB2 at least.
Yeah.
He's going to get the volume. I mean.
Yeah. Yep. You don't want to start Baker, guys, right now. To be honest with you, not even in 2 quarterback leagues. Like we said,
Chargers has been a good defense, too.
And the Chargers defense is good. You're starting Keenan Allen. You're still starting Big Mike Williams, even though – okay, let me ask you this quick. Are you worried about Big Mike after his disappointing last week against the Raiders?
It's 1 week. We've had 3 weeks of Big Mike showing the full potential of what he could do. I mean, I'll take the 3-game sample size over the 1-game sample size. It's just a bad week. I mean, you know as well as I do, wide receivers are inconsistent.
Agreed, man. I agree 100% with you there. But Jared Cook, man, caught a touchdown last week, I believe.
The thing I want to know is, you're starting Keenan Allen, you're starting Mike Williams, you're starting Austin Eckler. Can you start Jared Cook now?
With the way tight end is, man, and he saw 7 targets last week, catching 6 of them for 70 yards, and like I said, that touchdown, I think you can at times, if you're desperate, especially with bye weeks coming next week, you could totally do it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were a Logan Thomas owner, maybe he's sitting out there. But, I mean, man, I like him better than Robert Tonyan.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Robert Tonyan's not someone I'm interested in.
How about Dawson Knox? Dawson Knox or Jared Cook?
I think I lean Jared Cook still, man.
I think I'm leaning Dawson Knox just this week, but Jared Cook rest of the season because this is going to be a shootout in Kansas City.
Sure. But jumping over to the next game. Chicago Bears at the Las Vegas Raiders. Biggest injury of note here is David Montgomery. He's going to miss, sounds like 4 to 6 weeks with a sprained MCL.
He went on the IR just earlier today too.
Yep. Damian Williams is his backup. He's kind of battling an injury with a quad bruise, but should be good to go for this game. Mike, who would you rather have, Damian Williams or Josh Jacobs in this matchup?
That is a tough call, in my opinion, because I got the Raiders winning this game. And when the Raiders win the game, positive game trip for Josh Jacobs. He always does well. But I like Damian Williams in this David Montgomery role. We've seen how Montgomery was the heart of this offense. I mean, Bill Lazor finally running the ball. They're going to involve Damian Williams. Damian Williams is a former – didn't he win the Super Bowl MVP? Or he should have won this. Yeah, he should have won the Super Bowl MVP. He still got juice. He scored a touchdown last week. I think Damian Williams is an easy plug-and-play, at least flex this week. I'd be willing to push him to an RB2 because it's a good matchup against the Raiders.
Yep, I agree. I'd probably rank him ahead of Josh Jacobs this week.
Yeah, the Raiders' pass defense has been good this year, but the run defense has been subpar.
Mm-hmm. And the Bears are going to want to try to lean on the running game. Just the Raiders' pass rush has been good, especially with Max Crosby.
Absolutely. And with them leaning on the running game, do we like Justin Fields or Derek Carr more this week?
I think Justin Fields, Mike, and you might think I'm crazy, and people listening to this might think I'm crazy, but what is the big – when Derek Carr struggles, what does he struggle with? Pressure.
Yeah.
What's the one good thing that the Bears have done in all their games this season?
Wasn't Khalil Mack a little bit banged up, though?
He is. He was a little banged up going into last week and was still able to get a sack and have a fumble recovery.
Khalil Mack revenge game.
If they can make Derek Carr uncomfortable, the Bears are going to be in this game. And I have a good feeling we thought Robert Quinn found a second life, and he's been pressuring quarterbacks all season.
Second life in the second year.
I think Derek Carr might struggle this game just because of the pressure.
Fair enough.
But
I mean, we can't play Henry Ruggs. He's a dart. I mean, you can, but he's a dart throw. I mean, play at your own risk. We're not playing Brian Edwards.
No, but who would you rather have, Henry Ruggs, Darnell Mooney, or Allen Robinson this week?
I know it's only one game sample size with Darnell Mooney, the way he played, but it seems like he's the guy. I think I'm leaning Mooney with Justin Fields. He's got more of a ceiling.
Yeah, agreed. I'm still going with Allen. It's got to happen.
I can't. He's brutal. Almost like he doesn't want to play for him. I don't know what it is.
And his agent every week is just spouting things off. It's probably frustrating the Bears.
It's probably frustrating Allen Robinson.
Yeah, it totally is. Totally is. But I think that covers it for the most part.
Yep, you're starting Darren Waller. Don't start any tight end on the Bears.
No, Cole Kmet's just – they don't use him. They don't use him, unfortunately. Hold on. We didn't really talk about the running backs a whole lot. I mean, we did a little bit. You're not starting Kenyon Drake with Jacobs back, correct?
No, you're not. And Peyton Barber was questionable going into this one. I will say keep an eye on Khalil Herbert if Damian Williams does re-injure this. What was it? His quad, I believe.
Yep.
So we can move on to the next game if you want. This one should be hopefully a good one.
Cool. San Francisco 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals. Garoppolo, calf injury. Was he ruled out, Mike?
Garoppolo was ruled out. Trey Lance was announced a starter. That's why I'm so high on Trey Lance this week. Well, not that high on Trey Lance, but
Kittle's out as well with a calf, and Chase Edmonds is questionable with the shoulder. Mike,
he was spotted at practice though, so that is nice.
Okay. Is Cotter a must start if Edmonds can't
Absolutely.
go? I agree.
I hate it. But this offense is too good. He's going to have opportunities to score touchdowns every week.
You can start both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. You can start both of them. But if Chase Edmonds is out, you're starting James Conner. He's going to get more of that passing game work that Edmonds got. And also, if Chase Edmonds is out, I think you uptick on Rondell Moore a little bit. I think he's going to be involved more in that slot. Maybe Christian Kirk, possibly.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Man, I just seen this one in the notes. I didn't get to see this one yet, but this one's AJ Green or Ayuk, man.
AJ Green, man, he's just seeing all the targets. I know he saw targets last year. This year, man, he's doing something with him. I don't love it, but AJ Green, he can do it if. That's like boy. If he was here,
he got 6 targets last week. He caught 5 of them. One was a touchdown. I mean, he's even catching long ones, 41 yards last week. I mean,
he showed a little bit. But Mike, are we starting anyone in this San Francisco backfield? Because I sure as hell am.
No, we cannot. We don't trust it. I mean, even if Elijah Mitchell, I heard he's a good to go. Maybe if he has a good week this week, okay, then we can trust maybe Elijah Mitchell if he can stay healthy. But there's nobody we can trust. There's Jermichael Hasty's probably going to come back here soon. Trey Sermon's going to eat into that workload. And then, don't forget about Kyle Juszczyk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that pretty much sums that up. You're starting Deebo Samuel, obviously. Temper expectations with the rookie quarterback, though, a little bit. I'm not sure what we're going to see from Trey. I hope for the best. And it would be nice to see the 49ers pull this game out somehow.
No chance. I don't think it. Kyler Murray's playing out of his mind.
I don't know.
He's getting AJ Green to look good.
But yeah, no, he is. You're right.
What's with all these receivers going to the Cardinals and having a fountain of youth? Like you got Michael Floyd, Larry Fitzgerald was good forever.
Michael Floyd's. Whoa, you're bringing that shit back.
Yeah, dude. I don't know whether now they're bringing AJ Green back to life.
Yeah, but I think we can jump to the next game. New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Injuries galore over here. Sterling Shepard out, hamstring. Darius Slayton out, hamstring. Mari Cooper, hamstring. He was able to
There's a theme here.
He was able to battle through it last week. So I'd assume he's going to battle through it again this week.
And if you keep reading.
Zeke is questionable with a knee, but both expected to play.
I was going to say, yeah, keep reading, and then you'll know that Amari Cooper is both expected to play.
If Cooper plays, Mike, I really like the chances of CeeDee Lamb with a bounce back week this week. If they throw Bradbury on CD or on Cooper, I think CD's going to eat.
Yeah, I mean, even if I think they throw him on CD, I think CD will still eat, in my opinion. I think CD's really good. It's just they haven't needed him. They've been running the ball down teams' throats so far with Tony Pollard and Zeke, and it's working in their favor.
Yep. But Galladay, man, he's seen all the targets with those receiver corps being banged up. I think he had 18 fantasy points last week or something. He's a must start, I think, with all these injuries. Do you agree?
I mean, he is a must start, but he isn't getting all the targets. You know who actually outpaced him last week in targets?
Who?
Kadarius Toney. With 9 targets to hit Kenny Galladay's 7.
He's the gadget guy, though, man.
Oh, man, but he looks good. He's a nice stash player if any injuries hit you, possibly. And if, Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton become a every week thing with this hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trusting John Ross, I'll tell you that. I trust Kadarius Toney more than John Ross.
Yeah, totally. Daniel Jones has been pretty good, except for the 1 week that we suggested him. Of course, he was just fine against.
He threw 402 yards last week.
Do you expect him to have another big game against this much improved Dallas defense?
Yes, I do, because Dallas is going to score. I mean, the only way I don't see Daniel Jones doing well is if Dallas can control the clock.
Yeah.
With that run game, which is very possible.
Mm-hmm. Saquon's back, guys, just in case you were wondering. He's fine. He's good.
He got that overtime touchdown to fucking send him that W.
Yeah, he looks like he's almost back to normal. Want no part of Evan Ingram still, guys. But Dalton Schultz must start. He is the end of...
He's what we thought Blake Jarwin was going to be last year.
Yep, and now he's outpacing Blake Jarwin. I know they each caught a touchdown last week, but Schultz played, ran at least 9 or 10 more routes than Jarwin last week. So Dalton Schultz, the way tight end position is, you're rolling with him and not thinking twice about it.
I can't believe how crap Evan Ingram is. Guy's always involved in the offense and still can't do diddly squat.
He's got oven mitts for hands, Mike. It's not good. But jumping to the next one, Sunday Night Football.
This one's going to be a fun one.
Yes, it is.
AFC Championship rematch, buddy.
You're starting everyone in this matchup.
I think the question is, who are we not starting?
Yeah. Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. No injuries really to talk about. The one person who I'm not starting, Mike, is Zach Moss this week. I know he's been good for 3 weeks. I was talking about last week, and it worked out. He got in the end zone again. But those 3 weeks, what did all 3 of those weeks have in common?
Touchdowns.
Positive game script as well. They're able just in the second half, just ground and pound with Zach Moss. This week, they're not going to be able to against this Chiefs team.
Well, I mean, Devin Singletary had 14 carries last week, same as Zach Moss in that positive game script.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Zach Moss is scoring that touchdown. For some reason, he's the red zone guy.
Yeah. Bigger, stronger.
Yeah, he gets the 5 attempts in the red zone compared to Devin Singletary's 1.
Yeah.
He also gets the targets in the red zone. So I'll be honest with you. I think I'm leaning Zach Moss more than Devin Singletary. I know the positive, the negative game script is there for Singletary to have the day, but I mean, all it takes is them getting in that red zone and Zach Moss is the guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but Since we're pretty much starting a lot of people, we're starting CEH this week. I want you to plant a flag on a pass catcher here.
Which one?
Not named Tyreek Hill, not named Stephon Diggs, and not named Travis Kelce. Who's one pass catcher in this matchup who you're
And this includes the running backs too?
Besides CEH. Yeah. Because
you pretty much eliminate Mecole Hardman right away.
So I'm pretty much asking you, Cole Beasley, Manny Sanders, are you cool with them in your lineup or not?
I believe that I trust Emmanuel Sanders more than I trust Cole Beasley. I know Cole Beasley's been, the guy, but it's been, 12 targets first week, then like 4, then 13 week 3, and then 2 last week. It's inconsistent. He's not that safe PPR guy anymore. That's Hunter Renfrow now.
Yes, it is. What about Flash Gordon, man? No love?
No love for Flash Gordon. He's out of shape. I don't think he's going to do that well. The Buffalo defense is, better than people give it credit for. If anybody's going to score, it's going to be Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce or Clyde.
Let's just hope Clyde keeps doing what he's doing. Back-to-back 20-point weeks. Let's keep rolling there, CEH.
Yeah, he's finally. He's getting targets. It's nice.
And getting some red zone work, even though it was a underhand shovel pass type of thing that he caught, where Mahomes just kind of rifled it. Mahomes just got to get cute with everything, man.
Oh yeah, he does
all the time.
I think Darrell Williams though makes a solid handcuff in this offense.
Yeah, he does.
Good stats player.
I think we can jump into our final game here, Monday Night Football. Indianapolis Colts versus the Baltimore Ravens. Nyheim Hines questionable with his shoulder. You're starting Lamar Jackson. You're not starting Carson Wentz. You're starting Jonathan Taylor.
I don't even like it, but yes. Especially if Nyheim Hines doesn't play, I like it a little bit more, but it's still a tough matchup.
I'm going to stop here. What do we do with Baltimore's running game?
Latavius Murray seems to be the guy. I'm pretty sure. Let me just, confirm this. But yeah, Latavius Murray, 8 attempts last week compared to Le'Veon Bell's 4 and Devontae Freeman's 1. Wasn't Tyson Williams a healthy scratch?
And we can't figure out why. The man's averaging 6.1 yards per carry, and you healthy scratch him. He's the only guy who has any juice left, besides Latavius Murray with a sliver of juice.
It's looking like they trust Latavius Murray.
I get it why you would trust him over Tyson. He's been doing it for a longer period of time, but Tyson's just better. What is Harbaugh doing with all these old dudes?
I think he's
gross.
He's afraid of turning the ball over, and Tyson's definitely had an issue with holding on to the ball.
Yeah,
especially in the red zone.
Yep. What I wanted to talk to you about, I don't know if Bateman's coming back this week, but what does that do to Hollywood Brown and Sammy Watkins' production when Bateman is back?
I was going to say, Bateman is not back this week. He has not been activated off the IR. Even though if he does come back, it looks like Marquis Brown is the guy in this offense. Mark Andrews, he had over 100 yards last week. That's what you like to see. It's funny because Mark Andrews hasn't scored this year, and that's what we all think he is the scoring guy. Yeah, and he's just not scoring. It's Marquise Brown. I trust Marquise Brown's going to have a solid wide receiver 2, potential wide receiver 1 rest of the season.
I'm laughing right now because I'm just thinking about him dropping those balls in the Detroit game, and then Brown with a full extension diving catch.
Oh, it was so beautiful too.
That was such a nasty catch, man. That was so sick. So sick. But if you have a deeper bench and Rashad Bateman is out on the waiver wire with him coming back, he might be a good stash. Go ahead, throw him on the end of your bench and see what you can get with him when he's healthy.
Man, the one thing I got to ask you though, can we start any of these pass catchers? I know Michael Pittman, he's kind of like the Jacoby Myers of the Colts. He just hasn't scored yet, but he's getting the volume.
Hey, no, 12 targets, 12 targets, 8
8
targets.
targets. Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't scored yet.
Yeah, and he's just yet to have a big game, so you'd like to think it's coming. Fucking Zach Pascal keeps catching the touchdowns. I know he hasn't the last few weeks, but
Yeah, no, I mean that's
they're
the only,
using-
those are the only that's the only wide receiver with any receiving touchdowns is Zach Pascal.
yeah, they like to use Mo Alley Cox in the red zone just because he's a monster of a human.
I know, and I dropped him in Scott Fish. What a shame.
yeah, you're gonna have that though, man. But Cox shouldn't be on your radar as a streamer. Not Chet, anyways.
No, not enough volume. He's definitely touchdown dependent.
Agreed. You start Mark Andrews like we talked about.
Hoping he scores finally.
But Mike, I think that pretty much wraps it up, right?
Yeah. This is a no-brainer, but start Justin Tucker if you play with kickers.
Yes. Even Rodrigo. Start his ass too.
Rodrigo. Trust the glasses.
But yeah, guys.
We got hit with a couple questions before if you want to, answer them before we go.
Sure.
Never hurts to answer the crowd. Traded Keenan Allen, Thielen, and Denver D for Diggs, Allen, Robinson, and Bucks D half PPR. Thielen on the bench. I think that was a good trade, dropping Allen Robinson when you could.
No, he got Allen Robinson.
No,
he traded Keenan Allen, Thielen, and Denver's defense for Diggs, Robinson, and Bucks defense.
Okay, I mean,
I like Diggs rest of the season more than Keenan Allen. Allen Robinson and Adam Thielen are kind of
one scoring touchdowns and one's barely getting the volume.
It might work out, man. You're hoping for Allen Robinson to be Allen Robinson of old.
Yeah.
If that happens, you win.
If you believe in Justin Fields, that's your guy. That's fantasy football, man. You believe in who you want to believe in.
But I wouldn't be married to the Bucks defense, man. I would be streaming that.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we got a question for B-Dubs. I like that name. I love some Buffalo Wild Wings. What do you think about Mitchell Sermon's? What do you think the Mitchell Sermon split will be? We can't honestly tell you, sir. My best guess, we're gonna have 33% of Kyle Juszczyk, 33% of Mitchell, and 33% of Sermon.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry, I can't really answer that. Sermon hasn't looked great to me.
No, my guess is Mitchell's gonna be the red zone guy.
Yeah, I can tell why Mitchell was ahead of Sermon out of camp. He just looks better. So I think I would lead Mitchell over Sermon, and hopefully.
But it's not pretty right now.
Yeah, agreed.
And then one more. This one's an easy one for this week at least. We're playing Josh Gordon because Bateman hasn't coming off the IR yet.
I like Bateman moving forward though. I mean,
Bateman season long, yes.
Mm-hmm. Go Bateman there, man.
All right, but that pretty much wraps it up. You wanna tell them where you can find yourself?
Yeah, you can find all my written work at fantasy6pack.net. I write the Start Sit article every week. You can find LaPlante and I and our boss Joe Bond on the Sunday Social podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it. We're answering all your Start Sit and lineup questions.
All the tough ones.
Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, and like and subscribe to Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. You subscribe, you get entered to win this beautiful Jerry Jeudy helmet.
I subscribed, but I can't be entered into it.
No, you ain't gonna win.
I still subscribed.
You can follow me on Twitter at dclemens2222. You can follow Mike over here at belikeMike_ with 2 eyes.
2 eyes, because that's what I got. 2 eyes.
But alrighty, guys. LaPlante, is next week when we're doing the Saturday show?
Yes. Next week we will be doing a show Saturday night instead of Friday night. We had to move some things around. Unfortunately, we're too busy on Friday night, so it will be a Saturday night show.
Awesome. Sounds good. And hopefully we have our the third man of the wolf pack. Hopefully
it's not a wolf pack with only 2.
Nope. It's just more like the gruesome twosome or something like that. But alrighty, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Saturday. Talk to you then. Good luck in your
questions.
Yep.
Good luck, everybody, except you, Dylan. Have a good one, guys.
See you.